Look at the S&P 500. Once again, the low is in the first hour. This has happened the last 4 or 5 days. We move up here. But the important thing is leadership back in the semiconductor groups. Look at some of the sectors. Retailers are strong and the consumer discretionary. But you see industrials and materials are still basically lagging the overall markets. Look at some of these big industrial names like Cummins, 3M, Caterpillar, Eaton, all still to the downside, weighing on the Dow as well. Shows you that hasn't gone away, that whole tariff issue. Meantime, though, elsewhere, it's all looking good. Historic highs in the Russell, the NASDAQ, the mid-cap, even the micro-cap at historic highs. Meantime, everybody's talking about big changes in the Dow. General Electric is out, and of course, Walgreens is in. Let's bring in Art Cashin to talk about it. And Art, I know we all agreed it makes sense for GE to come out because of the low price, but do you feel like I do that Walgreens was not the obvious choice to go in the Dow?
Yeah, but I think part of that is what has been talked about in Wall Street as kind of the Warren Buffett problem. You know, Warren Buffett does not want to split his stock, and he's being emulated by hundreds and hundreds of other managers, so that the Netflixes of the world, the Amazons of the world, in the old days when a stock got to be about 100, it gets split 4 for 1,
yeah.
and you'd get it in there. So the problem with replacing GE is that if you put one of these mega monsters in an Amazon or something like that, it would absolutely swallow the whole average because it is based on price, not on capitalization.
It's a good point, but techs are underrepresented in the Dow. That's what's striking me. I thought it'd be a tech company, and there are some that are not $600. There are companies like Salesforce out there, Nvidia is 200 and something, Adobe, Oracle. Facebook is only $200, for example. It's not like there's no other choices that are out there.
Yeah, no, and they're going to have to fiddle with the divisor to make it work. But I think the primary concern was not to bring in any tech that looked like it might wind up swallowing or distorting the Dow. You know, if the Dow began to part company with all the rest of the indices, you'd have people questioning its validity. So am I surprised at Walgreens? I'm stunned. But I can understand from a price basis why they did it.
Not to play favorites here, but we have long complained here about the fact that the Dow is a price-weighted index, and you see these distortions. We saw it in the last few days as Boeing clobbers the Dow, pushes it down because of its high price, distorts the index, and the S&P doesn't have that because it's market cap weighted. In your opinion, is the Dow a less accurate gauge of the U.S. economy than the S&P 500?
Well, it's certainly a more volatile gauge, and the success or failure in specific companies and in specific sectors tends to have, as you aptly point out with Boeing, a disproportionate impact. So things look big. Take a look at today. You know that the indices were up, but the Dow wound up going south because the moves in some of the stock components were heavy. I mean, everything else paused when Powell said we might have some more rate hikes, but the Dow kind of crumbled.
Finally, that one last rule before I let you go, 10 to 1. Historically, they have tended to move a stock when it's less than 10% of the value of the highest priced stock. So Boeing's $340 or so, $34 and below is a trouble. When it dropped into the 20s, everyone said that's a real sign, and they did move on that. So there are some rough rule of thumbs that you can use here.
Yeah, they are, and it wasn't clearly a shock. People have been talking about this for a couple of months now.
Okay, Art Cashin, of course, head of the Floor Traders Association, informally, and of course, longtime trader with UBS down here. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Bob and Art. For more on GE getting booted from the Dow, you can check out CNBC.com.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.